Welcome to a late IHP show with your 5D mystic, ready to talk about a lot of things. So as we keep moving forward, we build our 5D collective community, but I just want to make sure to help you understand there's a lot of different types of mystics out there at this point. And so just keep that in mind, and please do be aware 5D for me involves Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, and it is you embodying all of your humanity, Jesus human. So I bring to you grounded in humanity mysticism stories. So we're going to do the twin flame thing for a minute because I just finished watching a 3-minute video and I'm just like, wow. Oh my gosh, the 4D. So how do I tell you? There's no wrong or right path, number one, even though I think this is going to be straightforward for any of my community members because we're all about inspiring human potential so you have healthy self-worth. You're not going to tune in here if you don't have the I love people, I love being here, I love to mix it all up, science and spirituality. Okay, so 4D doesn't mix it up. They talk to you about the unraveling of, the matrix. And so this is basically a world that I've seen and I consistently noticed as I was getting to go through my ascension that they kept repeating stories and numbers. And so the 144 special people, okay, so whenever I see anybody who needs to be a part of a special group, I know I have facades. We talked about that. So we forgive those who are afraid of shame. So people who don't head on over to a person like Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor, he's healed. I always say healing. He's a great therapist who's helping people who want to welcome home their inner child and become their adults. So he shares it's a journey, the will to heal. Then you stick around for that emotional pain body to come back online and you grieve then all of that which you were denied, and that's a journey. Then there's empowerment and justice. So you have those bystanders take your side and you get supported, and it's a long, beautiful process for the people who do it. And if and when you're ready, you can forgive your stuff eventually. Now, this is what I want to make sure you understand. This is very important. If you don't have a whole self, I want you to remember I'm a person who supports with self-help for mindset, mindfulness, and mindsight living. Okay, so mindfulness and mindsight can only be put into practice if you have your emotional body, and that means your 14-month-old and your chit-chatter as your friends. We have a Zen master who talks about his feelings as laundry, and he's a Zen master. So I just want you to understand 5D mystic here in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. So the words, they're not significant in a way of, oh, this is what my label. No, I remember moving into the Enlightenment Soul Age group and saying, oh, I'm back in my body. So I have many fun stories with spirituality, awakening being that I'm myself, Maria. So the spirituality that you can be, as Sadhguru says, spiritual is once you transcend those 5 senses. True spirituality, a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. So staying grounded in humanity, it's like Jesus taught me, forgive, they're your brothers, they're your sisters, be humble. Okay, so when I see the twin flame, everything, I just think of another cheerleading group is what I'm trying to get to. So 4D, they're cheerleaders, and 3D, well, they just missed the old days. So we're going to make fun and have groups. We don't want to separate. We're not separating ourselves. We're just going to basically tease. So what's a facade? So we talked about facades again. They don't head over to a person like Patrick Tiahan, and they will pick up the 4D collective. When they're picking up on anything, they repeat the same shit every year, over and over and over again. You'll notice it, and you'll also notice their areas of expertise. Now, we're a collective, and we co-create. When I heard these words way back when, I was like, wow, it's fun. Now I know what it means. And so let me share humbly and with a lot of joy, you create every day. So again, we're going to have fun because mysticism is different than when you have no clairs whatsoever. I do pick up on my Oversoul, all of my Oversoul. So this is where I have some fun stories, but I'm not a facade. So yeah, if you don't want to be forgiving to all 8 billion people and more, you don't have to, but 5D mystic. And I take my oath to Jesus and God very seriously, not to the people who want to talk to me about Lucifer and they don't represent anything of the energetic imprint of the Holy Spirit, which is pure love, like pure consciousness. So I know that people use words like dictionaries. I don't. I use words like those of us who know that energy is not owned and faith is not owned. You also know sciences cannot disprove spirituality. They cannot disprove God. They cannot disprove Holy Spirit. They cannot disprove. They're proving Reiki. Reiki is universal love energy. The only ones who, well, I get it. Again, the theologians, they decided to write a bunch of pieces of paper and say Reiki is bad energy because we didn't get their seal of approval. When you go and look at the clairs, they're the same as the Holy Spirit gifts that I saw, these spiritual gifts. They get explained by neuroscientists. So again, this is not disrespecting. This is sharing. 1, 2, 3 say the same thing. The ones who are using their little dictionaries, they're the ones who are rigid with their own mouths and their own brains. So they can keep insulting us because all the insulting is, oh, look, there's another evil devil demon. This is what they do. That's a hellhole. No, it's not. Yoga doesn't bring demons out of anyone. Learn about the sciences, Peter Levine, and trauma. So bones, muscles, tissues. It's stored trauma in that, okay, according to Peter Levine. So people who want to dismantle, they're not dismantling sciences. You can't disprove what is research that is building quantitatively. As in time, it will share and show, and really the ones who want to be, again, married to ignorance, they're facades. We don't take any of what they say seriously. They can wear as many fancy suits as they want. When they're reading out of their mouth, whatever regurgitation of material, they are going to be a very much, it's like I see statues in my head right now. This is how channeling works. So it's like a statue of Apollo and the goddess of whatever. So that's what they look like to me. I see them and I'm thinking, wow, you are that weighed down, armored in, and you poor inner child, never see the light of day because you didn't want to go and get it healed. You still have time. You can make it out if you want. But again, with all due respect, some of us, we know what Dharma is, and that is what consciousness is and what love is. And so again, allow yourselves to put a hand on your heart. And let's remember, as the Dalai Lama says, some of us are here to share laughter and joy. It's our responsibility as a divine feminine. I know what he's talking about. So while 4D and 3D talk about matrix, fake moons, and fake this and fake that, and they continue with all that, we're not doing that. 5D doesn't do any of the stories like that. We make fun. So let's make some fun. And so again, anyone who wants to move into 5D, so left and right, you put your left foot in, you put your right foot in, you put your left foot in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. So self-worth is when you're not doing the facade business that we talked about today. The facade business are the ones who do karma, not dharma, not a race. So dharma is not a teaching, philosophy, or belief system. It is based on clarity of vision about life here and hereafter. Clarity, you can have clarity when you're using your prefrontal cortex. So Dr. Daniel Siegel, come on in. So when I learned about the brain, I'm still finishing up my courses, but when I learned about what an integrated brain looks like, it's basically on a technological whatever. So you're in a physiological state of compassion, one, with the restorative embodiment self. That's where I come in and share with you stories today. But anybody else who's healthy self-worth and not a facade, they too, okay? So they don't have stories of there's only 144 people that have twin flames, and there's the first wave and the second wave and the third wave and the fourth wave. Yes, that's part of how people can find out about themselves. But again, if you need to find out about your oversoul, you're not a 5D divine feminine here. Don't have a question about my oversoul from anyone at all. I didn't need to go to coaches, guides. I knew the minute that my twin flame one was coming back. I just didn't realize I had clairs, and I've had them since I was a kid, but I didn't know what clairs were because I never really looked into it, because why would I? I wasn't interested in clairland, and Jesus was very straightforward. It was simple. It's still simple. God was straightforward too. Now I just know how to share with you all. So channeling, very easy. So I knew about him coming, then I knew about the second coming. I was a little shocked though. And then third took me by surprise, and that was a shocker as well. And then I have soulmates and they continue to add cherries on the top of my cake. Okay, so you will also know what's going on as it's going on, and then you'll share in safe spaces with people like your girlfriend, your guy friends, right? Okay, cool. So you're not part of a 144, this 144 that they keep using to make a special group. We love to see facade. So what is a facade? So any person who needs to prance around with, like, it's like the flat earthers. You get my gist? Okay, good. So I am a 5D mystic by choice. Those words come together because of bringing spirituality, spiritual sciences, all of it, as I support self-help. But some mystics, they will want to come over here because they will have clairs and the relationship with clairs the way I do, and not the way the 4D does. And the 4D, instead, they'll go and, have their coaches over there. So again, this is not a race or good or bad. It's going to be you gravitate to the ears. Your ears go where they want to go. So it's called you resonate with. Okay, so the ones who do superheroes, and then they want their supervillain to come out into the, and then they have somebody they're saving, and they're all over there. They continue to call New Age and any one of us who's different, evil people, and they're closed off. So they're avoidance and or anxious. So they don't have healthy boundaries. That's why they block people, cancel. It's also why they say you lose people when you're awakening, right? Yeah. You don't lose people. I got more twin flames, not less. I got more soulmates, not less. So you only lose people when your heart's closed, which means you're not really doing anything with 5D. You're just talking about the matrix and fake moons, and you're just making it into a cool thing, right? So that's why it's a 16-year-old, the fight response. Everyone who is on a cool team with the mantle is a Cusco. Show yourself, I'm that. So they need to be a part of group. That's why they're a facade of themselves. So they like to do this. They come together. It's not gossip per se, but they really, really do enjoy. They enjoy talking in ways that the insecure people that I have met, they do. So I have plenty of facades around. They're just as fun as anybody else can be. But they're a narrow state of consciousness who's not actually going to open themselves up to all of what they could be. It's unfortunate business. They could, but they don't want to go and get their self online, like I shared with you today. So we forgive those who choose to stay in their unfaced fears, it's what is called by Tara Brach. Okay, so once again, 4D, 3D, they're not doing anything illegal. If they do, they get arrested. Social media, we get to share and chit chat. I'm a mystic, I'm pseudoscience lady, woo spiritual. So I'm in the in-between in the first place, right? But I'm trying to, again, let you understand twin flame and flames, it's a real deal. You're not going to be asking questions if you're in the 5D plane as a mystic. So spirituality is a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. You're not a facade of yourself. My friend who I love to death, he's a facade of himself like others. It's called the false sense of self. That is your 16-year-old. You ask somebody, so hey, when did this become your, what is this, an identity? I forget what word I used, but I used it with a couple of people. They're like, no, but this is who I am. Okay, so we all have personality, right? But we have something called a lot more than just those basic personality traits, and that's a long story. Too long to do right now. Not part of our episode. Okay, so long story short, okay, forgiveness is key to know whether you are a person who has a teenager facade, and you don't have to not be the teenager, okay? I just want to make sure you understand as you continue to tune in, because this is not about right or wrong. I'm just allowing you to understand that the people with the closed hearts, they say, I have laundry and I was heartbroken, and they're not expanding, and they're not doing mystic the 5D way. And that's all. They have a group. Their group is a special group, so they didn't complete whatever it is, and they call this, they keep using words like karma without letting you know, you don't need to use the word. Just go and get your child back online. Get home to yourself. Become the person you can be, okay? That's all. That's all I'm going to say. So I've shared enough on that. Okay, so with that, the people who are resonating with forgiveness and self-worth are the ones who will know of the 5D journey as a mystic and expansion, okay? So we pick up on the ascension energies just as much as the ones in 4D. We just don't use storytelling and karma, but we do this dharma stuff. So we see clearly. Okay, so clearly means my twin flame and flames. They're human beings. I don't dehumanize them. They're not going to be people who are expected to have to fulfill anything. Now, they will be people that I will be happy to speak my truth with full on-fledged intimacy. Yes, I will, because I will know who they are, like my soulmates. I will know exactly, like any divine feminine will, which is why we don't need a fucking coach. People who need a coach, that's their group. I don't need a coach. I'm free as can be. I'm the lead of myself. It's I own my mind. I own my body. I do dharma, not karma. I own Maria. It's an inner child. It's a whole heart, 1-year-old. Co-create. I didn't even know, I don't use the word God to respect the way I learned about God, but co-creation is what we all do. When I come here, I share with you, I speak, I do. That's what I'm doing. I'm co-creating every day when I go and I'm not going to do that. I was going to make a joke. But my point is that we can all be generous of spirit. We can be playful. We're co-creating. Right now we're co-creating. You let yourself shine. And the illusion is that we are somehow different from each other. We're not. The facades don't get it, because like my teenage friends, nobody understands me. And I would say that too. And then I said, wait a minute, but that's bullshit. I sound like I'm whining. Everybody understands me. I just don't like that they don't understand me. Like my friend, who I get to love to death, but he's a facade, because he doesn't to this day know that I told him very specifically those 2 days that you heard the stories. So let me give you a little bit about that for anyone who's new. This is not a twin flame. This is an Oversoul member. Okay, so just showing you these cards is really nice. The Panther, you don't reclaim your power by being rude to people. We just dream our world into reality by turning, knowledge into wisdom all the time. It's really fun. We get to be independent people, the whole 1-year-olds, and we get to be quiet inside in a good way, and we watch and wait. So we love to love. So we get to come together in harmony in the heavens and have resolution with all of our Oversoul. And that's because that's memories of Atlantis, technology, spiritual acceleration. So some of you definitely are moving into more of your dharma. And again, the karma is not a bad thing. You have moved into a love affair, which need not be with any particular person, but that you can have a great love affair with life itself. Thank you, Sadhguru. You know that your ways of thinking and feeling, your likes and dislikes, your philosophies and ideologies, they all melt down because you have fallen in love, your higher heart activation. So dropping your shields, divine love, your heart is healed. That's when you reclaim yourself. You're a parent, you are you. You have the authentic self-expression, your throat chakra. Authenticity, self-expression. So my friend, he is really awesome, but he is like those facades. So he's like a teenager, which is why he's a buffoon, which is where I accepted his buffoonery when we were growing up, because I have buffoonery just as much as anyone. He called me a hypocrite after I called him a hypocrite. I called him a hypocrite because he doesn't keep his word. He called me a hypocrite because I say this and that and tomorrow, because I bring sciences, spirituality, mathematics, all of it. I mush it all together. So here's what happens when you have a facade. They only use their left. Their right doesn't come online because they don't have mindful awareness and they don't know self-regulation. We talked about it today. So you can tune in some of the episodes if you're curious. Okay, they were really good. And if you want a short version of it, the forgiving, there's a second one out of 3. Okay, but I enjoyed doing today. That's why I said they're all good. And I do use good and bad in different ways, but not in let me cast a stone, you're good or bad. It's good meaning effective work, bad. It's bad work meaning not effective. So hopefully you'll remember I don't use words like dictionaries, and I say a lot of things, which is why my friend called me a hypocrite. Because I'll say this and that, and people who are linear, they don't do that. I'm not linear. I'm analogical. I use my right mode with my left, not the other way around. So that's why I'm stupid lady for the people who are linear. And then if they figure it out, they're like, okay, wait a minute. She has a different way of how she talks. And they wait till I'm done, and then they can ask because they have figured out the gist of what I'm saying. Okay, so my facade friend, it's basically the adaptive child part is leading. So they're always going to do I'm right, you're wrong kind of deal, control the situation. Then they're going to make unbridled self-expression. So it's all about how they're wanting it to go. And when you don't take their side, they're going to give you the silent treatment. And in my friend's case, it's not the silent treatment, is that even if I'm speaking, they're chit-chatting away as I'm chit-chatting, which is why when we came back around to the conversation, they repeated the erroneous aspect, meaning they didn't hear what I said about why I got upset, why I didn't speak to them for 5 years. They completely twisted it to their personal perspective, and I know because I know my friend. I know what he thinks because he told it to me. So putting aside the hypocrisy thing, because that's just another example of how people can think differently but love each other the same. So as long as a person doesn't go to get their inner child seen, soothed, safe, secure, they won't be a grown-up version of themselves. They're going to be an adaptive child pattern, and they're going to have low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive-aggressive. They don't know healthy boundaries or us talking always, not just sometimes, and getting it all out. They will make it about themselves, withdraw, that's it. So with my friend, when I picked up with so we were friends already, back to being friends a while it had been, and I find out that they don't believe in God, mysticism, any of this, okay? So I'm finding this out while we're just chit-chatting with other people, and I'm just furious because I had told him when we came together, I'm not asking you anything. I wanted you to be yourself. That's all I asked of you. Be you. What you did was a facade. You played a game. I don't play games, not with my friends, not with anybody really. I won't be in those friendships. So people who don't have healthy self-worth and they don't own their sense of self, they don't know how to be real. They don't know how to not be a facade. They don't know how to speak their truth, and they can have a clown face like my friend does. But their clown face is basically hiding. It's the mask of those who have childhood wounds, rejection, abandonment, da-da-da-da-da. That's why he doesn't know how to tell me, hey, Maria, I'm kind of bored about this, how about we talk about this? So this is the part of why it's a facade. Now, no matter how many times I tried telling him, be you, he doesn't know how to be him in the way that I'm telling him, because he doesn't know how to navigate a securely attached nervous system. But also he, in his head, Maria's making a big deal out of nothing. So he's disregarding, which is also why the heart is closed, which means that the amygdala is not alerted to mindfully paying attention and listening, and then allowing himself to recalibrate to his friend and the friend's way of speaking. And so I do not have a differentiated self in front of me, you see? Okay, so this is where for a 5D mystic with our twin flame and flames, they do not belong to us. They will have their own body. They will have their own journey. And of that, a divine feminine will have no confusion whatsoever. We will be choice points. The choice point, like with my friend, will be very straightforward. And we each will make those choice points. And love and respect and acceptance is what comes from a true divine feminine, unlike what you see from Squirrel Town of Cusco's. And that's because the 4D, 3D, and everybody else who is this facade, again, they twist in their head shit. Their frontal lobes are flopped down, their amygdala is alert, and they're in a 16-year-old at the very bare minimum defense mechanism with pseudo-aliveness and with their neuroplasticity agent of imagination using inner critic, outer critic, angry squirrel town, the codependent, blamers, martyrs, superiors. So they don't know that everything in the existence is the same energy, manifesting itself in a million different ways. Call it God, call it a demon, call it whatever you want. Here's Sadhguru. That's why the 4D keeps talking about dismantling the matrix and then devils and demons and evils. That's the difference. They're not grounded in their humanity, so they don't understand what true spirituality is. I just read to you, we are all the same energy. Okay, so 5D mystic. We'll make another episode, late IHP, so I don't keep you too much on this one. But the facades, they want to be a part of a group. So you'll see 144, 144,000, 144 that, they're called teenagers who now, like the flat earthers, have a group, they come together, they cheer each other on. In the meantime, like my friend, they didn't open themselves up to their true self. They're leading with a false sense of self, which is a superhero with a supervillain cape, with somebody they're saving, which would be their own self. So they're all dragging each other around with the pain point, which is why they drag their feet like the Zen master. And they don't talk about life with joy. No, talk about it with a human suffering love narrative and a basically gossip. And then they got good people and bad people. They don't do the highly intelligent, emotional, mental conversation of what a 5D mystic and a 5D collective, a human being, they might not call themselves 5D integrated brain human being, will say. Every person has not the inherently good or evil. They have a body. They have the first 3 years of their life, implicit memory, then they begin to have explicit. They have the first 8 years of their life, so attachment, trauma, educated, informational people, they will know how to explain it, just like I did. Being a mystic doesn't take that away. So mystic adds to your journey. You go beyond the 5 senses. Okay? If your body is not grounded in expansion, so no forgiveness at the heart, no self-worth at the heart, no, I can work with myself and know that nobody owes me anything and I don't owe them anything, meaning that I don't need you, you don't need me, we enjoy each other. This is secure attachment for you. And so with twin flames and or flame and or oversoul, soulmates, if you're a divine feminine and you're 5D mystic, you had a good time right now because you've been knowing this for a while and they've been offending divine masculines for a while, which is what began to piss the fuck off of me. They began insulting people that I, one, know, two, they began to do this facade, and I don't like facades. So the same way I got in my friend's face when he did this shit, I'm like, okay, you're all doing this shit, what's up? And I just could sense, as I got more and more aware of their hypocrisy, the spiritual process, not a career, it's a way of life. So there's a lot of people that don't know that they are not wholeheartedly yet connected. If you think you can half-heartedly love someone, there is no love. It is either 100% or 0. And we do know how to love ourselves first. A true divine feminine, like a true divine masculine, because that's an empowered person who has healthy self-worth. The people who don't know how to love themselves first, that's the insecure attachment people. Remember that we read that again today. So they need specifics and guides to help them learn how to deeply connect with their inner child and become the parent they have needed all along. So the people who are facades, before they can access the empowering journey of having clairs and mysticism the way that I continue and will continue to share it with you, they will want to go and get their inner child to become an adult. And then once you forgive everything that took place, you're going to have a good time because you consistently smile in your relationships and you speak your truth with intimacy. So you don't do because you're a twin flame or because you're a soulmate, you owe me something. You do basically, I get to find out what you and who you are, and you get to find out who I am. And that's why we continue to be in each other's lives. Nobody is going to do any kind of stages or any of that business, but for the ones who are not looking to become their self, again, they're afraid of the shame, blame, fault, revenge. They're afraid of their self because deflecting is what they do, and storytelling. So you'll find again that they would rather belong to a group and they won't be here. So those of you who are here, welcome aboard. Again, divine feminines, we know our masculines. The masculines don't know their feminines. Now that there are more masculines that are getting a hold of their own divine feminines, then we are going to see more of them being empowered. And for twin flame, you'll know if you have one. If you don't, it's okay. You don't need them to spiritually awaken. We'll get to that one in the next episode. You don't need anyone to spiritually awaken. You are your own piece of consciousness. And to awaken, number one is your inner child. The self of you is how I'm going to put it to you, because it's your heart, your gut, your mind. So left and right, when they're working together, your default mode network down regulates, and it's not scanning, and you get to 1, be authentically you, and you're going to begin to live a restorative embodiment self. That's the nervous system's response you want. You want your social engagement system. Being a mystic is a bonus. You want heaven in your body. Not maladaptive child patterns of behaviors, the drugs, the fucking, the drinking, not the adaptive child facades either. It's boring. It's a small energy. Again, we'll be back with a little bit more. In the meantime, thank you for stopping by. We will see you maybe again soon. If you liked, enjoyed, and you like funny, you may be right. I may be crazy lady, not too lunatic, but definitely mystic. So now that I am a lot clearer on how to try and ensure you understand, no competition, but definitely differences, and we will be teasing. I have a lot of teasing going on in my brain right now. So with all due respect, again, we know of Bill Nye. Even if there were Matrix, you really think you could prove it? You really think how far do we want to take the lunacy, the moon? Okay, we'll be back in a little bit. Thanks for stopping by.